AI sales platforms, tools transforming B2B. AI sales platforms are moving from hype to infrastructure. If it feels like every sales tech vendor added AI to their homepage overnight, you're not imagining it. The difference now is that AI sales platforms are starting to produce measurable outcomes for B2B teams, not just nicer demos. In Salesforce's latest State of Sales Insights, 81% of sales teams report investing in AI, and teams using AI are more likely to report revenue growth than teams that don't. What's pushing adoption isn't novelty, it's time pressure. Sales reps spend only about 30% of their week on true selling, with the rest consumed by admin work, research, and CRM upkeep. That gap is exactly where AI platforms can create early ROI. They shrink the busywork tax, so SDRs and AEs can spend more hours in live conversations. At SalesHive, we see this same pattern across cold email and calling programs. AI works best when it's treated as a multiplier for strong fundamentals. It won't fix a weak offer or unclear ICP, but it will help a good outbound sales agency move faster, test more, and keep execution consistent across a growing team. What an AI sales platform is and what it isn't. In a B2B context, an AI sales platform is a connected set of tools that improves core sales development workflows using machine learning and generative AI. Practically, that means helping teams prioritize accounts, generate first-pass messaging, capture and summarize conversations, and surface next best actions inside the CRM and sales engagement stack. The goal isn't to replace reps, it's to give them better inputs and faster execution. It's also worth calling out what it is not. An AI platform isn't permission to scale send volume until reply rates collapse, and it's not an excuse to remove human judgment from prospecting. Gartner has even warned that for complex B2B deals, buyers will continue to value human-led experiences. So the winning play is using AI behind the scenes while keeping real sellers responsible for messaging and conversations. This lines up with how frontline teams feel too. In 6sense's 2024 State of the BDR survey, 65% of BDRs reported a positive attitude toward AI tools, and 39% already used at least one AI solution, such as call coaching or email assistance. The most successful teams position AI as a co-pilot that reduces prep time and increases consistency, not an autopilot that impersonates a rep. Why outbound teams feel the impact first? For most organizations, the fastest wins come from AI-assisted outbound because that's where time leakage is most obvious. List-building services, account research, personalization, follow-up, and activity logging. HubSpot-related reporting shows AI adoption in sales jumping from 24% in 2023 to 43% in 2024, with written outreach content generation as the most common use case. That's a signal that your competitors are already using AI to draft and iterate outbound faster. Meanwhile, buyers are speeding up their own evaluation process. Research cited in Go-to-Market Statistics Roundups suggests 89% of B2B buyers already use generative AI during purchasing, which means prospects may be using AI to compare vendors faster than your reps can manually research an account. In that environment, a cold email agency or cold calling team that can respond quickly with relevant, accurate context has a structural advantage. The revenue case is getting harder to ignore. Salesforce reference reporting indicates AI-enabled teams reported revenue growth at 83% versus 66% for teams not using AI. Separately, B2B AI adoption reporting also suggests that among firms using AI in sales enablement, 71% exceeded revenue targets in 2024, and predictive AI improved conversion rates by an average of 19%, but only when the underlying process and data were solid. A practical 90-day rollout plan that doesn't break your team. The cleanest way to implement AI sales platforms is to start with a baseline and one narrow use case. Have SDRs and AEs log a typical week, then categorize time spent on research, data entry, outreach production, and live selling. When teams see the data in black and white, especially that 30% selling time reality, it becomes obvious which 2 or 3 workflows should be automated first. Next, define a simple AI-assisted outbound play your SDR agency, in-house or outsourced, can follow consistently. In our outbound programs, the most repeatable workflow is AI proposes target accounts, surfaces a handful of relevant insights, drafts a first-pass email, and logs activity, while the SDR owns the final opener, the CTA, and the channel decision across cold email, LinkedIn outreach, and cold call services. This keeps personalization real while still capturing speed. Finally, run a pilot with guardrails and a scoreboard. Choose a small SDR pod for 90 days, give them prompt templates and messaging constraints, and compare performance to a control group. Track adoption and impact weekly, reply rate by sequence, meetings booked per rep, time to first touch, and meeting to opportunity conversion, so you can tune the system before scaling it across your outbound sales agency motion. AI should make your sellers spend more time selling, not send more mediocre messages. Best practices. Keep AI fast, keep humans accountable. The teams getting the most from AI sales platforms tend to follow the same principle: quality over volume. Over-automation is the quickest way to train the market to ignore you, especially if you're scaling pay-per-appointment lead generation or high-volume outbound. Cap how many AI-generated steps you include in a sequence and require human edits on the first touch and any message that makes a claim, references a competitor, or uses sensitive context. Modern AI can absolutely help with personalization, but it needs constraints. Tight templates, clear do not say rules, and a defined value proposition prevent the robotic tone buyers dislike. When we run campaigns at SalesHive, our approach is to let AI accelerate the first draft while trained SDRs validate relevance, rewrite the opener in their own voice, and keep the CTA simple so the outreach still reads like a human sent it. The other best practice is to treat outbound like an experimentation system, not a one-time launch. AI makes it easier to generate variants, but your process still needs disciplined A/B testing, segment-specific messaging, and consistent deliverability hygiene. This is where many cold-calling companies and sales agencies stumble. They turn on AI, increase output, and never implement the QA loop that protects reply rates and brand trust. The hidden failure modes: data, compliance, and buyer trust. You only get value from AI if your data doesn't sabotage it. Before you deploy AI scoring, routing, or personalization at scale, stand up a data cleanup sprint for 30 to 45 days. Dedupe rules, standardized pick lists, enrichment on your top ICP accounts, and consistent contact role mapping. Without that foundation, AI will confidently recommend the wrong accounts and amplify errors faster than a human ever could. The second failure mode is governance. Decide what AI is allowed to do automatically, draft, summarize, recommend, versus what requires approval, send, update critical CRM fields, change sequence logic. This matters even more if you're working with an outsourced sales team where multiple people touch the same workflows. Guardrails prevent one aggressive automation setting from tanking a whole domain's deliverability or creating inconsistent messaging. The third is trust, both internal and external. Internally, adoption fails when reps don't believe the recommendations, so your platform needs transparency in why an account is prioritized or why a deal is flagged. Externally, buyers still expect real expertise during discovery and negotiation, So use AI for research, preparation, and follow-up recaps, while keeping core conversations human-led to protect credibility. How to measure AI ROI without fooling yourself. The easiest way to overestimate AI impact is to measure activity instead of outcomes. Set 3 to 5 adoption and impact KPIs that connect directly to pipeline: meetings per SDR, reply rate by sequence, time to first touch on new leads, meeting to opportunity conversion, and forecast accuracy. Then review them weekly so AI performance is visible and adjustable, not a black box that quietly drifts. If you want a simple dashboard structure, start with a mix of productivity, quality, and pipeline metrics. This keeps your team honest when AI increases output but reduces relevance, which is a common pattern when teams try to scale too fast with automation. Finally, sanity check ROI timing expectations. A 2025 report on B2B revenue teams found nearly 65% achieved ROI from AI within their first year, with 19% seeing returns in under 3 months and another 19% in 3 to 6 months. The pattern we see is consistent. Teams that start with one workflow, usually outbound, and keep clean data get payback faster than teams trying to overhaul everything at once. What's next? AI-first research and the build versus partner decision. AI is rapidly becoming the default interface for sales research. Gartner projections cited in go-to-market research suggest 95% of seller research workflows will begin with AI by 2027, up from under 20% in 2024. That's a massive behavior shift, and it means training matters. Reps need playbooks for prompts, source validation, and how to turn insights into messaging that's specific, accurate, and compliant. This is also where many teams decide whether to build internally or work with a partner. If you have strong RevOps capacity and time to iterate, building can pay off long-term. But if you need pipeline within the next 90 days, partnering with a B2B sales agency that already runs AI-augmented outbound can shortcut implementation, tooling decisions, and experimentation cycles. SalesHive sits in that middle ground. We combine an in-house AI platform with trained SDRs to run multi-channel outbound, including cold calling services and cold email execution, without forcing you to reinvent the entire sales development engine. If you're evaluating options, treat AI as one part of the system, alongside messaging, data hygiene, and an execution team you can trust, because that's what consistently turns AI from promise into booked meetings and predictable pipeline.